to provide context to this kind of conversation. So for those watching, the reason we wanted to kind of have this conversation is because this is a conversation that we had in person a few days ago, and it just felt like something that we really wanted to share more widely, because actually it's not really something that we feel is necessarily talked about a huge amount. And I guess, like, for you, Emma, what was it in that moment that made you want to ask, like, is recovery a scam?
I think asking it because the part of us that always seeks to know something for sure, and like that eating disorder voice, which can't really, never really wants you to fully believe that something that you want so bad could actually be possible. And so it kind of puts everything, every filter, every thought, image, reason for it not to be true in front of you, but you can still see something through all of that, and kind of going, so what is all of this in between? If what I'm seeing, which was you, B, is this full recovery, then what on earth is this stuff in between? How? And I kind of believe a lot of that stuff in between, because we live with it for so long. And why wouldn't we? That's very natural for us too. But it doesn't, it's not like a lovely, it's not like, nothing lovely. It's not like, oh yeah, just get through this and this and then I'll get there. It's going, no. If I pay any attention to any of that, I won't get there. And it's narrowing that mind. There was the narrowing of the mind of trying to create something that felt comfortable. And is it a scam? Because I just didn't trust myself, or I didn't trust what I was seeing, because what I was seeing was something I've never seen before. I've seen it in social media, supposedly seen it. Like, I don't know what it is, but and then to see that, there was so much doubt in my mind. I couldn't quite comprehend it. I needed to add my familiar into your life. And that's where the kind of confusion was coming, because it wasn't right. It wasn't what I was trying to add to you wasn't two things. One, it doesn't match, but of course it doesn't match, because these are my puzzle pieces that I'm creating to create you for my self-reflective purpose. And so actually, whilst doing that, I'm not allowing you to be you in my head, like that other person to be themselves, in a way to try and protect oneself. But that isn't the protection I need.
Yeah. It's like this false sense of protection that the eating disorder provides in so many ways, right?
Yeah, because I could carry on believing, right, that what I was seeing wasn't true. And I mean, I'm in a position where it would feel extremely uncomfortable for me to do that, because I know that you wouldn't lie. you know, like I know that I know, and I believe that so truly and wholeheartedly. I couldn't keep telling myself that what you were telling me was actually not true.
Mm.
And that
Also,
it's not of service to me at all to believe that.
yeah, exactly. But also, it's not just about what I'm telling you. It's like we spent 3 days with each other.
Yeah.
Like you can see it as well, right?
Yes. Yes. And that's it. It's not when we have like social media and stuff like that, we know that it's all under the facade of kind of this is they just give us what they want us to see.
Mm.
And I think there is so much scope for creating a beautiful life, creating a life that people want you to be seen as, or they want other people to have, but they don't actually live it like wholly.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we are somewhat aware of that a lot of the time, and we can impart a sense of like it's not criticism, it's just awareness that that's happening. And I guess is applying that awareness to those protective sides, the eating disorders protective sides, but then noticing that that protection is protecting something I don't want protecting anymore. It doesn't need protecting because that isn't life.
Yeah. And was it ever protecting us in the first place?
Not us, no. It was protecting itself.
Yeah.
And being able to recognize, I think, that itself isn't us, it isn't me, it is something other than me. The initial separation is really important, but I think being able to carry that along throughout recovery and as it looks so different throughout is really essential. As we start to separate ourselves from it is a really key part of coming through recovery. And I think we can sometimes lose sight of that sometimes when we see ourselves separate from it, and then we kind of go, oh yeah, I guess like, yeah, is that all right then? You know, is that okay then to keep it just there? But actually the word keeping at all to apply to it is like, no. And we're so used to thinking it's managing it.
Yeah.
It's okay, I have this. I am sharing myself with this.
Yeah. Or even the phrase like living with an eating disorder.
Yes. What about living without one?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where is, and I think especially it might be seen on social media, but we will need to hear this from the people who are saving, who we give our lives to be looked after. So the medical professionals, any treatment centres, and all of that. Not Amanda Smarts on social media to tell us that, because I think we'll always have that cautionary bit. But people to be able to advocate for us and say, there's no managing, there's no kind of coping for the rest of your life. We believe we stand with you to work to a place where you are free of this full recovery, not a scam. It's possible.
Got goosebumps all over my arms.
Because the scam itself, that is the creation of the eating disorder.
Yeah.
Of the voice that does not want to let go. And we know this about the eating disorder. It will do anything. Anything. And at different stages in recovery, it will show us another part of itself, and it will come up with another. I'm going to acknowledge and give it not some credit, but a bit of airtime here in saying it does it very well. It's extremely good at what it does.
Yeah, exactly.
But unfortunately, what it does is not what I want. It's not what we want. And actually, we can be that good at creating stuff. We can be that imaginative. We can be that fun and playful and real, bringing stuff into our real life without that being there. We don't need it to tell us that something is the way it should be, or could be, or has to be.
Yeah. I think it's like when we stop identifying so much with it, or at least when we just, it's like when we pause and just take even like the tiniest step back. It's like me and the eating disorder, like we were just like this, like you were saying, it felt like me. And so like, yeah, of course we're going to believe it, of course we're going to trust it, because like you were saying, like why wouldn't we? Because it feels so true, so personal.
Yeah.
But actually, like when we start to just get just even that tiny bit of space where we can start to look at it more objectively, and see that actually it's not personal. It's not personal. It's even when it really sounds and feels like it. And I think that is such a key part of it. And then we're creating that space in between, is space where we can start to see something different. But I think throughout all of that, like you're exactly right, and that's the reason I got goosebumps, that if we're starting from a place where we know that it's possible,
yes,
to detach, to see it from a completely different perspective, to have full recovery, not just this kind of partial recovery that we so often settle for and that we're told is the way it's going to be. If we start from that point where we know that it's not even just think, but know that it is possible, then that whole journey is going to look different, right? Because it's not just, oh, I'll just settle for this, or actually, yeah, this is probably as good as it's ever going to get.
And that questioning, oh, is this it? Is this it? If you're ever questioning it, it's not it. It's not it.
Because what I have now and what you have seen now in person is freedom. Like that's it, recovery. And I think even the word recovery can be so loaded. It's like we were talking about this the other day, that it can so often feel like this far off land of recovery, or this the peak of a mountain that we have to climb. And we have so many expectations and visions of what this kind of world of recovery looks like. But actually having experienced that, and I mean that's just my state now, that it's just freedom. That's it.
And it's simplifying it, right? Because I think I don't know whether it is or not, but I wonder, it's a part of our incredible creativity as individuals. But I also feel as that there's maybe a part of the trickster in there, which kind of makes it so fantastical, makes it so goddamn beautiful potentially, that it almost feels like that's too good to be true.
Exactly.
Whereas actually, if you simplify it, and that doesn't diminish what it is you can have at all, but if you simplify it to what it would mean to be there, and some core thing, like core feelings, core values that you have as that person, which, by the way, if they're values that you want, you already do have some of them here. It probably means that we're just not living into them as much as we can. Simplify it to just freedom, then that gap between where you are, where we are, where one is, and where full recovery is, it's like, oh, well, freedom is really big, but actually it doesn't take up all of this space in between where one is and where freedom is, where full recovery is. It's just like, oh, it's now here, and that I can have. I don't have to jump through, an inordinate amount of hoops. I don't have to hurt, like put myself in pain and discomfort and push and And that doesn't mean that those feelings might not come up, right? But also alongside those, because this is what life is joy and happiness and peace and excitement, adventure, all of that.
Yeah.
Because those things aren't made of like this expansive amount of fluff that we create in our heads, right? These are really simple, innate feelings. And something that just came up then as well, which is where we keep doing this, like we're holding two things, right? And we are this, and the eating disorder is the other thing. We weren't born of many parts. We were born whole. We were born one. So anything else which we see ourselves sharing ourselves with, we are living without that. They've been added in, but are unnecessary to life. Otherwise, we would have been born with them, and we weren't born with them.
Yeah, which also means that they are never a part of us.
No.
They never become part of our makeup.
No, they never become essential.
Yeah.
They never become necessary or important for living.
And they can't touch who we really are.
No matter how much it feels like it, they need us. It needs us to survive, but we don't need them.
Yeah.
To survive, or it to survive.
No, exactly. And I think seeing it like that is so helpful. And when we think about this idea of freedom and recovery, it's like the way I see it now is like it's not this big thing, we have the mountain we have to climb, and find really exhausting and all consuming. But actually it's almost like I've got this image of a person kind of walking along a street, and they start off with this really heavy backpack, and they've got all sorts of kind of camping gear and I don't know, all sorts of stuff that's like weighing them down. And it's like this journey to freedom is like shedding all of that stuff. Yeah. Freedom is, it's that kind of lightness that comes. It's a shedding, it's a subtractive process. This isn't about managing, this isn't about finding tools and techniques to keep the eating disorder at bay. This is about letting all of that stuff go. Yeah. And I think that's liberating. It's freedom.
Yeah, absolutely. You are liberated. And when we think about other ways of, people in life are liberated, it's because they have removed themselves from a particular thought patterns or beliefs or systems. The eating disorder is a system. It's a very, you could say a really complex system. And I think it is, in the sense that when we apply that much thought and time to it, we add to its ability to think better, to think smarter. And the more we do that, the more we feed that. We feed that thing. And I think sometimes when we really, really work at recovery, and it is a process, but it doesn't have to be like sitting a PhD after a PhD after a PhD. Is that sense of we're letting go of things, but what if we don't? I like the way of like we are subtracting things, but we also, I think, spoke about over the weekend at some point adding.
Creating space to add.
What are we adding? instead of constantly going, I want rid of this, I don't want to be doing that, this hurts me, this is painful, this is it causes me anxiety, you know, just trying to push it all out in this search for full recovery. We're just giving that more attention by trying to go like, how do I get you gone? Or how do I stop doing that? All this while we're looking into it, aren't we, to figure it out? In the hopes and process of building a different life. But actually by doing that, we're not actually paying any attention to the life which we want to be building. It's all back here. Whereas if we look to, okay, I'm acknowledging all of this here, what all of the eating disorder related stuff, the whatever that is and whatever that comes with, you're there. I'm just going to turn my attention just this way to just see what I could add to my life. What is the life I want to be creating? And how could I step into that today? We can't have that unless we do that. We won't get there unless we know what unless we spend time looking at what there might be and actually going, oh, okay, like that stuff doesn't just happen if my attention's over here. I can't even see that stuff. I don't even know what that might look like. And the thought of getting rid of all of this, what am I left with?
Yeah.
Like this gaping hole, it's too scary. I don't know what that will be. And I mean, actually take a step back. That's okay to not know. You're still living. You know, that you were born with is there. It is you. You will be okay. But it's too easy to fill that hole again with what we know.
Yeah.
The familiar things. And so we're just in that perpetual cycle of, okay, I got rid, but I didn't know what to do. So I'll add in.
Yeah. And
whereas it's a shift.
Yeah, absolutely. And like being comfortable with creating that space, even if we're not actively kind of filling it with other stuff, but just knowing that actually that expansiveness, that space is opportunity.
Yeah.
Is opportunity. And it's like my whole mantra for the last kind of 18 months or so has been allowing the unfolding.
Yeah.
And that can feel scary at first because it's like our minds like to think it can control things and like predictability and things like that. But actually, when we sink back into that kind of space and that trust that life has got us, because it does. That took me a while to really believe that, but sitting here right now, I can tell you that it's very trustworthy.
Yeah. What comes to mind is that thing of like, you know, when you take a piece of paper, you scrunch it up, right? That's like tight, that's compact, it's solid, it's, you know, it's there. It's got everything. It's got it all sorted out. It's quite harsh though, because the natural way it wants to be when you let go is it kind of just springs out. And so all its lines are still there, all its crimples and stuff are still there, but it's just looser. It's relaxed. And you know what is still there? The paper itself is still there. Its form has changed, but its paper, what it's made of, is still there. And that's you show up because that is you.
Yeah.
You just in different forms and that unfolding, exactly, you know, paper unfolding.
Yeah, literally, yeah.
For me, it's just like the paper going, ah.
Yeah, big old exhale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because all of that kind of, oh, keep this fold here, keep this bit here, that corner's nice and sharp, this here, this here, this here. It still takes a lot of holding on to.
And we think that that's safety. We think that having that tight grip on everything is safe and is what we should be striving for. But actually, yeah, it's not sustainable. It's not
No
sustainable, and
fun
it's
can
not
get in.
fulfilling. It's not fulfilling. It hurts us.
It does.
It creates pain. And actually, there is so much. There's a different state on offer. That openness.
What if?
Yeah.
Just what if? And if it's scary and it feels too much, just know that what continues to exist, the state changes, but what continues to exist is that it is still you. You're just in a different form. And I just, all of a sudden, play can come in and things can find gaps and fun and joy, excitement, adventure, like you say, potential, opportunity. And let that, what happens if we just let that come in and know that, yeah, I don't know what that is. I don't know where I'll fall. I don't know what my next position will be, where I'll lie, where I'll end up. But what that form is made of is still me. It's still the same foundations.
Yeah. And I think that's a great place to stop.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Emma. And I hope everyone who is watching has enjoyed that conversation. More to come for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.